I had this dude sitting next to me who, anytime like something like emotional would happen, like there'd be a kiss or someone would cry or something, he would just be like, whatever.
What?
And I'm like,
how old was this person?
He seemed like he was like our age-ish. I was like, get over yourself, man.
You're cool.
Right?
Hello, listeners, and thank you for tuning into Those Nerds Over There. This is an enthusiast podcast centered around celebrating and discussing nerd culture. We're your hosts. I'm Alan.
And I'm Sal.
And Sal, R.I.P. our last episode. Listeners, we're so sorry that the whatever debacle happened did.
Yeah, it turns out we know even less about audio than we thought.
Which seems surprising considering the amount we did know was like nil.
Right. We're like, how could we know any less than we do now?
Oh my goodness. But in an attempt to make up for that, please check out Miss Zealous Celeste's Instagram. That's at ZEALOUSCELES. Yeah, we pulled her question last week, and both me and you, Sal, bought an amazing Daenerys print from her.
Yeah.
And we thought it'd be a shame that she doesn't get more people to check her out, because she's great.
Yeah, and her question was putting Game of Thrones characters into Hogwarts houses, and we had a good time with that, so I'm sad that that audio is in the abyss.
You know what? We'll be okay. We'll survive.
Yes. Something I did mention on that recording that I need to bring up again, because I think it would be tragic if not brought up. I mentioned that in this article, or not article, it was part of a podcast.
It was for Podcast Movement.
Yeah, for Podcast Movement. Edison Research reported that among the U.S. population ages 12 and older, the total number of people who ever listened to a podcast passed 50% for the first time, which formally introduced podcasts into the mainstream. So we're in that golden age of podcasting right now, and I think that's important.
Welcome to the podcast renaissance.
Renaissance sounds so weird because I just think of like old-timey stuff.
True, but it's also not technically accurate because that implies that there was a period before now where podcast was popular.
Yeah. So there's that.
But you know what? Since when has language ever had any meaning?
It's true, especially the English language.
But anyway, there is one other thing I'd like to touch upon, was Intelligent Systems just like casually dropped the update DLC on us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no big deal, no announcement, bam, here it is.
By the way, we're talking about Fire Emblem.
This is, yes, we are.
Because, you know, the Fire Emblem podcast.
But I'm just like, what the fuck?
I mean, it's fine. I
mean, it's wonderful.
I love the fact that they gave the new outfits. They're like sporting outfits.
They're pajamas.
They look like sporting outfits. That's what everyone's been making art of anyway. And you can give glasses to Byleth.
Oh my god. Who would have thought the glasses would add so much? Because they look great.
They look so great. And then they added maddening mode, which...
The name
for one. I love it because people were like, why is this so hard? But I was like, well, it's your guys' fault for saying the game was too easy. So there you go.
Okay, but in our defense, the people who said it was easy, it is easy.
It is easy, but it's not like tremendously easy. Like I still get wrecked sometimes. Granted, I'm playing hard mode with like characters that shouldn't be the class they should be, but that's beside the point. Something interesting that did drop with the update is they like retconned some of the dialogue in the supports.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice.
And people aren't sure why. So, like, they did it with Bernadetta, where she talks to Byleth about being abused.
Mm-hmm.
And she's saying that, like, her dad used to tie her to a chair and for, like, wife training and used to keep her there for hours. And she kind of goes on this, like, spiel about it.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, and they changed it just to like one sentence where she just says, "My dad used to tie me to a chair for hours," and that's it.
Oh, I wonder why they did that.
It apparently it's closer to the Japanese, but it also takes away a lot from the character, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like,
And yeah.
never mind. I don't want to... Before we get into more, a whole hour-long podcast about Fire Emblem once more.
She's a very tragic character that kind of thing is kind of needed to make her more understandable for the way she is and stuff.
And but it really adds to like how like strong she is in the latter half of the game because she overcomes all that.
Yeah. So, and then they did something with Felix and Annette, one of their support conversations. Annette is like dancing on top of a chair or something, and Felix is concerned and he's like, "Get down from there, you might fall," or something. And they changed that to him just saying, "Oh, that's impressive that you can do that." And no one's sure why that one was changed because it doesn't make sense because the Japanese actually doesn't say that. So,
that changes the whole tone of that then.
Yeah, it's weird, and people are still discovering some things that they're changing, so
I'm glad a lot of people documented the supports before this update came out then.
Yeah. I don't know why they're like casually changing these because they were all fine, but anyway.
I mean, if someone can educate us on why, we'd love that.
Yeah, it'd be great. But moving on to non-Fire Emblem content.
Yes, let's pull something from the jar.
Yes.
All right, first-time listeners, thank you so much for joining us and bearing through that Fire Emblem nonsense. This is what we call the Nut Jar. It's a jar filled with listener-submitted questions that are just fun discussion questions. Like we said, Miss Ella Celeste last time had, how would you sort Game of Thrones characters into Hogwarts houses? And we had a very fun time with that. If you want a shout-out on the show, or you have a fun question in mind, feel free to send those to our Twitter at ThoseNerdsCast. If you do, be sure to include like a social media tag that we can shout out, because we want people to check you out. Without further ado. Also, I don't know if we've ever explicitly said this, but we want people to answer these questions too. Like, we want to hear your answers.
Yes. We usually say that at like at the end of a question.
You're right.
But not at the beginning, so.
You're very right. All right, let's see what we got. Okay. A deep cut, this one. All right, this one comes from our friend Drizzy.
Ooh.
I got to meet Drizzy the first time during Level Up Expo when she was sharing the table with, I don't know who she was sharing with, but she was like right behind Kazel.
Yeah, she was sharing with some friends that I don't know, so.
Oh. But Drizzy, very, very strong Kachako shipper.
Yes, she loves My Hero Academia and shipping characters. She made these charms where you could just ship anybody.
Oh yeah, those are very good. I saw those.
Yeah, they're great.
And listeners, you can check them out on her Twitter at Drizzy Doodles, DrizzYDoodles. I think that's her Instagram too, right?
I think so, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, if we're wrong on that, we'll be sure to add a correct addendum in the tweet.
Yes.
But Drizzy asks, how long until you think Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out?
You know, this is probably one of the best questions.
You finished the game, right?
3?
Yes, have you?
No.
Still?
We're almost done. We have one more Thursday. By the time...
No, not even by the time this episode comes out.
By the time we record our next episode, it should be done.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, check him out.
I would have been finished, but I went to go see a musical, Alan.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Did you see that the new Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC was announced?
Yes.
Did you see the trailer for it?
No.
Oh my goodness.
What is it about?
I have no idea. I can't tell if they're retconning the story. I can't tell if they're adding additions to the story.
Oh,
because there's a bunch of new cinematics.
Uh-huh. I mean, really, it should be Kingdom Cinematics 3, but...
But I really liked all the cinematics.
Yeah, but they take away... Like, they pull you out of the game.
Yeah, okay. The disruptive ones mid-combat are a little much.
Yeah, but when they're needed, they're good.
I mean, but damn it, I loved all the dialogue that you got with all the organization members there at the end.
Yeah, that was nice.
Oh gosh, and even before the DLC announcement, there was a secret cinematic ending that we get with all Kingdom Hearts games.
Right.
Which I'm guessing you haven't seen either.
Correct.
Oh my goodness, Sal.
I mean, I don't know. I think I hyped the game up too much, where I just didn't play it, and now I'm playing it, and I'm like, it's okay. Because it was, like, great when I started playing it, but then I was like, it's fine.
Well, I think that's the general mood.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's unfair, but let's see. All right. It took 14 years between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. To be fair, though, there was like a million spin-offs in between.
All of which are somehow canon.
Yeah, that wasn't... Okay, so when they pulled in, like, the phone games canon, I was so lost. I was like, what is happening right now?
I think, okay, the only we'd have to ask Hazel, because she would be the expert on that.
Yeah, Sammy was explaining it to me, so...
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Alright, man, we should have them on as some kind of guest expert to try to explain the Kingdom Hearts story, because, like, that's the meme, right? The Kingdom Hearts lore is just the most convoluted thing ever.
Indeed. Like, you didn't have to make every spin-off canon, but you did.
They did, and I mean, Persona does the same thing, actually. They made all the dancing games canon, too.
Oh Lord. I mean, what? Does that add a lot of canon, though? It's just a dancing game.
How dare you?
Okay, maybe I've overstepped.
Okay, so, but even between Dream Drop Distance and 3, there was 7 years.
Yeah, so my problem is I thought it was like, wow, you're taking so long to make this game. It's going to be like the best, most ambitious game ever. And it's like every other Kingdom Hearts in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know why the long wait.
Do you think there's like one thing you can think of that would have been an addition that would have maybe made it worthwhile? I mean, summing it up to one probably is unfair a question, but...
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be like this grander thing, like more worlds, more characters' perspectives, just like more.
Just a lot more, okay.
Yeah. And it ended up being like a lot shorter than I thought, and there wasn't that many worlds to explore. Because, like, all the worlds got spoiled for me. I didn't ever go to a world and was like, oh, this is something I didn't know was in this game.
Okay.
So, I mean, I guess that's in part, like, the trailer's fault, but...
Then, I don't think there's much that can be done on the world part. I did think it was a shame that you got all these Keyblade people and couldn't really play with them.
Yeah, because, like, in Kingdom Hearts 2, they added Roxas, and his story was cool. And then in Birth by Sleep, they added those 3 Keyblade wielders, and you could play through all their stories. Mm-hmm. But in this one, it's just Sora, and, like, on the occasion you played as other people, but it didn't really matter.
Yeah, so, I don't know why they didn't, like, there was one of the DS games, they let you play as, like, all the people, so they've let you do it in the past, is my point.
Yeah, so I just thought it would have been more than it was. I mean, like, at least for the wait, right?
Right, I don't know. Well, maybe. I'm still in the group that really likes Kingdom Hearts 3.
I mean, yeah, I still enjoy it, but it's just like, the payoff wasn't as much as people expected.
The fact that we're getting DLC in December probably doesn't look good on the production timeline for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah.
But what would be your hope? Like, how long would you have to wait?
I mean,
how long are you willing to wait?
The problem is, like, they pump out these games pretty often.
What, like the spin-offs?
Yeah.
I think Drizzy meant like a mainline.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like at this point... Well, the problem is I don't know the ending, really, but I know the story isn't really done.
Not by a long shot. I just got a grin on my face because I didn't know the ending.
Yeah. I feel like if you're not going to, like, lead up to this massive conclusion, which this game should have been, then you should just pump out a game just as if it was a spin-off. And so I don't think it should take as long as Kingdom Hearts 3 did.
So less than 7 years.
Yeah, I would say like 5 years at most.
At most, okay.
At least that's what I would be willing to wait until I'd be like, okay, this is excessive. But, you know, knowing them, they might do a bunch of spin-offs and then be like, okay, now we're releasing Kingdom Hearts 4 like 12 years later.
How many of the spin-offs did you get to play?
I played all of them except
really? Wow.
Except Birth by Sleep, which is supposed to be one of the best. So that was tragic.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced Birth by Sleep is a spin-off, honestly.
Yeah.
Dang, if the PSP, I remember there was a Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep exclusive PSP, and I was so tempted to buy it just to play Birth by Sleep.
I was tempted to buy a PSP just for the game, too.
Wow, okay. I didn't realize you had played all the spin-offs.
Yeah, and I enjoyed most of them, so...
Did you guys do Chain of Memories for the stream?
No, I don't think so.
Did you ever play Chain of Memories?
I did play Chain of Memories, and I thought it was very strange. I enjoyed it enough, but...
That game was whack.
Yeah. I don't think I ever, like, defeated the final boss, because I think back then the whole card system was kind of, like, lost on me.
I mean, it's still lost on me. I mean, they want you to actively dodge things while doing math. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I don't really anticipate things.
I would like it to be at least 5 years, but knowing them, maybe another 10. So that's fun.
Listeners, how long are you willing to wait? Or how long do you think it's going to take for Kingdom Hearts 4 to come out? And tell us what you thought of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah. I would hope 5 years. That's my guess.
Before moving on, we wanted to take this moment to thank our lovely patrons for their continued support. So thank you so much, Eloy and Sus. Apologies again for last week's mishap, but you love us and we love you and you support us. So thanks for helping us keep going.
Yeah.
All right, Sal.
What up?
What did you get excited about this week? And I can hazard a guess. There have been posters all around town.
Have there?
Well, at least in downtown Summerlin.
Oh, that's neat.
But yeah, what'd you get excited about?
So I got excited about the musical Wicked.
Valerie, Rick, TFTI.
I know, right? I had the privilege of finally going to see Wicked on stage at the Smith Center, and it was a grandiose time. The tickets were expensive.
Oh boy.
But we got these seats, and they were called the box seats, and it was like we got our own like little room.
Whoa.
The room has 3 rows of seats, so we had to share the room with other people. But
Right, but that's like that sports stadium team ownership kind of seating.
yeah. So it was pretty nice, and the seats were actually pretty decent too. Cause like there's like 6 floors.
Jesus.
And like the cheapest seats are at the like very top, right? And I was looking up there and I was like, man, why would you even get seats up there? Like I feel like you can't even see what's going on.
So how close were you?
We were on the 2nd floor.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's where the box seats are. So it was elevated like just enough. It was great.
So then the step above your seating would be floor seating?
I think it was like the step above us was the dress circle and then floor. I don't know exactly how that works, but yeah. The most expensive are like the orchestra seats on the 1st floor.
Oh geez, but won't you lose like your hearing?
I thought that until I heard it, and it actually wasn't as loud as I thought it would be.
Huh, okay.
So I was like, maybe I should splurge and get some orchestra seats sometime for some musical.
But Wicked.
But Wicked! If you don't know what Wicked is, it was a Broadway musical about the Wicked Witch of the West. Music and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz. It is also a book by Winnie Holzman, and these were based off of a novel by Gregory Maguire named Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, and that was based off of a novel called The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum in 1900, and it was also based off of the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz. So
This has had more translations essentially than the Bible.
right? How did we get here? If you haven't listened to any of the songs and you like musicals, first of all, do yourself a favor. It's all on Spotify. Go listen. It's great. But the musical tells the story of 2 unlikely friends, Elphaba being the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda being the Good Witch, who struggle through opposing personalities, dominance at school, and a rivalry of the same love interest. But they soon become best friends, and they end up fighting a corrupt government.
What?
Oz. Yeah. Well, that's like loosely. And ultimately, Elphaba falls from public grace and becomes the Wicked Witch, and Glinda becomes the Good Witch. And that's essentially what it's about.
So, not a happy ending.
It is a happy ending, actually, which would be spoilers if I told you what happened. So I don't know if you want to know what happened.
I mean, I'm generally okay with spoilers.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't really care so much about endings.
True. All right, well, spoilers. Skip this part if you don't want it spoiled. But so what ends up happening is Elphaba is essentially marked as a traitor to the Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
So she becomes the Wicked Witch. But Glinda ends up helping her, and they kind of she's actually like Elphaba's actually good, but because she opposes the wizard, they make her out as this like public enemy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so they devise this plan where Elphaba like she like pretends to die.
She fakes her own death.
There you go. That's it. So she fakes her own death, which would be Dorothy in the water, right? And then what ends up happening is Elphaba runs away with Fiyero, the love interest, and they live happily ever after with Galinda kind of holding the secret that Elphaba was actually good the whole time.
Oh, that's nice. So is the Wicked Witch of the West the one that melts in the Wizard of Oz though?
Yes, that's Elphaba.
Okay.
Yes.
So we know how her story really ends.
So in accordance to like where this takes place in the canon of the Wizard of Oz, it's weird because it happens before and after and during. So the beginning of Wicked happens before the Wizard of Oz, and then like I want to say more than halfway through, that's when Dorothy comes to Oz. But Wicked is playing like the Wizard of Oz is like playing in the background of the story, so you don't know what happens to her until she comes and throws water on Elphaba. and then Elphaba pretends to die, and then so the Wizard of Oz story is over, and then it continues after that for a little bit, and so it's what happens after the Wizard of Oz, as well as the ending of Wicked.
Okay. Now when does she start defying gravity?
She defies gravity after she finds out that the Wizard of Oz is corrupt.
Okay.
And she wants to stop him. So she defies him and goes off. What ends up happening is he has this spell book that he cannot decipher, but Elphaba can. And so his plan is to use Elphaba to control the people of Oz. But instead, Elphaba ends up taking the book and using the magic to help like free the monkeys and stuff that he's been enslaving. Ooh. And so that's when Defy Gravity happens.
This really just makes the actual wizard, like, he sucks even more. Not the fact that he can't grant wishes.
Yeah.
But he's a tyrant.
It was actually funny because I was like, the wizard is Rhea. But anyway, so more about the play. So Wicked first premiered on Broadway at the Gershwin Theater in October of 2003.
Oh my god.
Elphaba and Galinda were played originally by Idina Menzel, who plays Frozen. She is Elsa. You know my love for her. And Galinda is played by Kristen Chenoweth. And it won 3 Tony Awards.
Ooh.
7 Drama Desk Awards, which I don't know what those are.
Don't know what those are. Not an EGOT.
Yeah, and the original cast album received a Grammy Award. It is also the 6th longest running Broadway show, and the Broadway show surpassed $1 billion in total revenue in 2016, making it the 2nd highest grossing musical, with number 1 being The Lion King.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, but when did The Lion King? Didn't The Lion King come out after?
I think so. I didn't actually look it up, but I was surprised by that. Number 3 is The Phantom of the Opera.
Is that still going on?
I guess so. To garner that much money, I would think so. As far as the production I saw, Elphaba was played by Mary Ann Torres, and Galinda was played by Erin Mackey, who actually was a very standout. She played a really nice Glinda. I hadn't seen Glinda before, but she definitely brought a lot of charm to the character because from what I know from the songs and stuff, she's supposed to be this kind of like not very likable character, but she ended up being super great. And then Fiero, the love interest, who was played by Kurt Hansen, he did a great job as well. And then another interesting thing was, so what I saw was part of the Wicked tour, is them like traveling across the US and performing at different places. So first of all, thank you to the Wicked tour to coming to Vegas. But something neat that they do is when they come to a place, they get local talent to perform some of the music.
Like in the orchestra or on stage?
In the orchestra. So they had 9 people from Vegas or from Nevada. I'm not sure exactly how that works. Play several of the instruments, as well as someone actually did some of the coordinating for the music. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's nice. And that kind of makes sense too, unless you can afford to, fly a whole orchestra around.
Yeah, I mean, they do fly a lot of the orchestra around, so...
Really? How many people are in that orchestra?
I can look it up right now.
Please. I'm just like, damn, that's going to be like... Yikes.
Okay. You're right. So there's only 6 people that are on the traveling orchestra.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, otherwise I'm like, oof.
Yeah, and then they recruit a bunch of local talent, so...
But I love that.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
A quick tangent. At my old high school, the orchestra teacher, his name was Mr. Kushner, but everyone just called him Mr. Kush.
Of course.
Of course. I don't know if he ever did any weed, but it'd be perfect.
Is that it?
Yep, that was it.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be something related, but...
Nope. I mean, orchestra.
Yeah, were you in any of that?
No, I was... What did I do in high school? I did... The strange classes I was in JROTC.
Uh-huh.
I was in a computer animation class, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. I was in journalism.
Oh, I was in that too.
Oh, nice. And then I also had an animation class, and...
Look where we are now.
What is that saying about us?
So wicked.
But yeah, people that are in musicals and stuff, I wish I got to know some of them, because I feel like they would be great people. And I commend them for getting on stage and doing all this stuff, because like, oh man, I don't think you can like appreciate the amount of work that goes into a Broadway play until you see one, because it is ridiculous the amount of stuff they have to do. And for like the lead actors having to constantly run off stage, get changed, and then go back on stage like moments later to do another scene and another song. So like this musical is like 2 hours and 30 minutes ish.
Oh my god, that's almost as long as Avengers.
Yeah, and it's just constant singing, especially from like the 2 leads. So hats off to them for like singing for 2 hours straight.
Oh my, bravo. That's a musical marathon.
Yeah, the amount of work that they have to, hats off to them, you know?
I am wondering how, now, since you've seen musicals, I've never seen a musical. Do you see musicals a lot? Or is this like your first one you've seen in person?
This is my first one I've seen in person. I've just always loved musicals, like the idea, and then like I always go see the movies, and then I always listen to the music. So I've never actually seen one in person.
How does it feel like a live musical? How do you think it holds up to more traditional media? Or not traditional, more modern media.
Yeah, it's very different. I think there's more of a sense of, like, more personality, I guess. Or, like, not intimacy, but I don't know what the word is. More maybe personal. But it's kind of like going to see a comedy show. You have that relationship with that person on stage, right?
Yes. I haven't been to a musical.
Right, but you've been to comedy or like stand-ups and stuff, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess I never really thought about my relationship with the person on stage.
Well, it's like more personal because you're not just watching something that was filmed, right? So I think there's that because the people are having to do acting like on the spot, and it's not, if they mess up, they can just redo it.
Okay.
So I think, I don't know where I'm going with this. But yeah, I think it's just like a more personal experience. So yeah, I thought it was great. And the kind of storytelling is a lot different because there is less acting and more, it's like more showing than telling, which kind of doesn't make as much sense because movies do that, but it's weird because they tell most of their stories through like song or like dance numbers than they do through actually talking.
Right. It's more interpretive.
Yeah, so it's a lot different in that regard. Whereas, because when I seen Into the Woods, I felt like I had a lot broader of a picture of what was happening, and I don't think you get that in a play. I think it's more interpreted in a play. So it's definitely a different take.
Okay, all right.
But it was great. I loved it. And tragically, at the end, I was clapping so much that I forgot because they all came up on stage and I was like, crap, I need to get a picture. The curtain went down. I was like, dang it, I missed it.
Oh, wow. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It happens.
I'm glad you liked it, though. How much longer is Wicked in town?
It is here till the 22nd, I believe.
All right, well, I guess, listeners, you guys should go check it out if you get the chance.
And just any musicals in general. I know Anastasia was here last month, and I really wanted to see that. The problem is, like, there's so much money for, like, decent seats, which is completely understandable because it's like a whole experience. But it's like, I can't just go watch a musical. I have to, like, plan for it.
It's this whole big thing.
Yeah. So, but it was really nice and fancy, and we went to go have like a dinner afterwards, so we kind of made a whole day out of it.
Ooh.
So yeah, Wicked. It's great. Go listen. All right. But anyway, Alan.
Hello.
What did you get excited about this week?
All right, it's time for Blast of the Past because it's D&D related.
Hey, what up?
So on November 19th, we're getting a new D&D campaign book coming out.
Ooh.
But the most exciting portion is that we're no longer in Forgotten Realms. We're going to the Eberron setting. Eberron. There we go. I think that's how you pronounce it.
These words just don't make sense to me, so...
Exactly. I'm going to be using a lot of words during this next bit, Sal, so my apologies in advance.
All right. Go.
Yes, so we're getting a new campaign. It's in the Eberron D&D setting, and I believe this is the first 5th edition like adventure book that's taking place outside of Forgotten Realms. All of the previous things I talked about were Forgotten Realms, except for the Ravnica one.
Right.
But more on Eberron. It's the name of a fictional world that became a D&D campaign setting, and it was created by game designer and fantasy novel writer Keith Baker. So in 2002, Wizards of the Coast they were running a competition to get a new world setting for 3rd edition of D&D, and Mr. Baker entered his world, and it was one of 11,000 entries.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I'm like, damn.
Well done.
Yeah, and then in 2004, the official like hardcover Eberron campaign setting was released, and that's when it joined our world. Now, fast forward to 2018, when the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron came out for 5th edition. That was my first taste of Eberron in Mr. Baker's world. So, a little information on the actual world. Most of the D&D content that has been made for Eberron takes place on a continent called Corvair. Corvair used to be this unified kingdom under a monarchy, and it was relatively peaceful. But then, after the last king died, his 5 children started a centuries-long war over who would become the next king.
Of course.
Of course. Emphasis on centuries.
Right.
Rhea.
When stories do that, like, I feel the descendants of these children, what are they fighting for anymore?
Yeah, at that point. Like, these people are long dead. What's happening?
Yeah.
But during this war and this time, the dragon-marked houses, they gained a lot more influence because they have these unique abilities, and then so that made them like assets and good mercenaries. Now, in the world of Eberron, there's these things called dragon marks. These are marks passed down through bloodlines that give the owners special abilities, and the marks themselves manifest as like these from the pictures I've seen, they look like glowing like tribal tattoos.
Like crests.
Exactly. I was gonna say, Sal, what does this remind us of?
And back to Fire Emblem we go.
The dragon marks are to blame. But yeah, the marks, they manifest as these tattoos on the body. There are 12 quote-unquote true dragon marks, because they belong to these recognized houses. But there are also, in the world, existing things called aberrant dragon marks, which is, I think, more or less just a label for marks that are not of the 12 recognized marks. So the aberrant marks, they just kind of, they can, I think, from what I've read, they just kind of look like if 2 marks mix together and become unrecognizable, or if, since the marks are passed down through bloodline, if you get a mark on a race that isn't what it's traditionally associated with.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Which, that makes for some cool story ideas. But anywho, so in the aftermath of the war, the continent ended up splitting into these 5 nations. And that's kind of where we're at now, I believe. If you want more like in-depth lore on any like Eberron or even Forgotten Realms stuff, I'd recommend checking out a YouTube channel called, okay, so it's called Jordan, but it's spelled Jorphdan, because I think his thing is that the PH is silent.
Ah, I see.
Yes. I think he does a wonderful job explaining lore, and I love listening to those videos.
Yeah, lore videos are great.
Yes. Oh my god, there's so much Forgotten Realms lore. It's insane. Also, Eberron lore too. Like, these people make whole world. It's, I don't know, that idea in itself is crazy.
Yeah, man. That's why I love writing.
But yeah, so our new adventure is titled Eberron Rising from the Last War. And it takes place in what it seems like it's taking place in just one city. It's called the city Sharn, and it's known as the City of Towers. It's built into this, close to this cliff, and on these like plateaus on this cliff, and it's just a city that is built upwards. So districts end up being divided by height.
Okay.
Yeah, so that just seems like a crazy city layout concept for me.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I don't know if you remember me talking about this before, but the adventure is, I feel like, kind of similar to Waterdeep Dragon Heist, which was also like a one-city adventure.
I think you mentioned it briefly.
Let's go with yes. But But I'm very much for that style of adventure. I didn't get to finish playing through Dragon Heist because I had to relocate. But my favorite part of doing like that style where you're just in one location for the whole adventure was that I started feeling like there was this sense of home, at least like, and getting to establish that home for your character by sticking in one place. And your friends and your enemies become a lot more explicit that way. Part of it kind of just reminded me of like, remember Hilda?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like having urban adventures like that.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Right? So and this, I guess, more parallels, like Sharn is also like the biggest, like most densely populated city in the Eberron setting, which is kind of the parallel for Waterdeep, I feel like. So this is probably going to be my thing too. The world is also kind of like Ravnica, where it's a mix of magic but also technology. And I think they specifically do label it as like steampunk technology.
Ah, I see. I know you have a problem with steampunk, though.
I have a problem with it aesthetically.
Ah, okay.
I have no problem with it as, I guess, a story element. Whatever the right words are here. But even we're getting more with the book other than the adventure, because this is like our return to Eberron. So in addition to the adventure, the book is coming with like 16 new races / sub-races that you can play as, and the dragon marks you can choose for your people. Previously with the Wayfinder's Guide to Eberron, which was like the Ravnica book, which it gave us like kind of the setting in general and the ideas on how to make a campaign around it. That book gave us the option to play as a Warforged race, which is this kind of sentient machine that was made for that centuries-long war. But then they just kind of persisted. And I'm really hoping we get variations of the Warforged, because I feel like that's a very interesting, like, character to play. Like, I was going to say Ghost in the Shell, but that's very old, and I didn't really watch a lot of that anime. But most exciting, I think, we're getting is finally a new class option. This is the first new class option we've gotten in D&D 5th edition since its inception in 2014.
Whoa.
Right? But we're getting the Artificer. It's like a steampunk mage that makes inventions and stuff.
Kind of like an alchemist?
Exactly.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that title was already taken for a background.
Rip.
But so for a while, there's this thing called Urban Arcana that Wizards does, which is like, hey, here's potential additions to D&D that you could try and use, and why don't you beta test it for us and tell us how it is?
Okay.
Yeah, so for a while, the Artificer has only existed in that territory. And now, with this book coming out, I said, November 19th? Yes. That means we're finally getting this content coming into the official, I guess, the canon. So, I mean, that's just exciting for me.
Right.
But that's all I got, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just excited. We got more D&D news, more just like the same kind of excitement I got for Ravnica, where it's like, holy shit, we're going to a different world, a new world to explore.
Yeah, I like the idea of these like new adventure books, because it gives you a lot of groundwork for people that
are like me and not super creative.
Yeah, it gives the people like a less daunting introduction, right?
Yes.
So I think that's great.
I was trying to read that Ravnica source book. And it was already like, oh, here are the 12 guilds of Ravnica. Good luck. So here's what they stand for. Here are the guilds they like. Here are the guilds they don't like. Times 12.
That's
all right. Now here's how the city works. There's a guild pact. It's a guy.
Yes.
So I'd much rather prefer these like these adventure books that have the story laid out for you.
Yeah.
And then you as the DM just has to kind of read the chapter, prepare it, and if you want to learn more, then you can go into the world explanation book.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's funny because like as soon as we said Fire Emblem, I was like, wait a minute. A Fire Emblem D&D campaign.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
All right, that's my new project.
Oh my gosh, trying to adapt that. I can't remember the YouTube channel now, but there's like this YouTube channel that tells you, hey, here's how you can play this character in D&D. I was watching the video for Crom.
Yeah, I seen that one.
Oh.
That was good. I liked it.
But there's that. Oh gosh, what is it? I feel like the actual world reminds me a lot of like I said, Fire Emblem Three Houses, but also like a lot of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it sounds great, and I really like the idea that they give these like snippets for people to be like, hey, try testing this out, and we'll make it official later if it works.
Yes. Oh my god. There has been stuff from Urban Arcana that did get released with like previous core rule books. But this is, like I said, this is the first time we're getting a class. I think the Artificer did show up once before as a subclass. But don't quote me on that.
All right.
Yes, I'm looking forward to this. The suckish part now is that like me and my friends all have jobs and we just don't have time to meet up for D&D sessions.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I can barely get you here to record this podcast.
Thank you. Yes, I know. It's so hard now.
Yeah, so the struggle.
Yes, I'm trying my best, Sal, to cut this time for you, I promise.
Thank you. Don't do it for me. Do it for the listeners.
I'm doing it for me. Listeners, the point of all that was like, if you get the chance to try this new adventure out, tell me how it is, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. Cherish the time you have to play with your friends. You might not have it forever.
Man, if that wasn't the message of season 3 of Stranger Things.
Right.
That was what we got excited about this week. We got Wicked and the new D&D adventure come out November 19th. Sal, do you ever sing any of the Wicked songs?
Do I ever sing?
Any of those songs?
Not in public.
I have tried singing Defying Gravity, and I can say I don't do a good job of it as Idina Menzel.
Yes, those high notes are a little too high.
Indeed. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us and enthusing with us. If you like what you heard, consider sharing it with a buddy, and you guys can nerd out together. Word of mouth is still very much the best form of advertisement. If you'd like to help out the show, a review on our iTunes and our Stitcher pages, they go a long way towards podcast visibility. If you have recommendations for the show, like things we should check out or improvements to the show we can make, feel free to put them in the comments of our SoundCloud page. If you want to see pictures from our convention coverage or just our social lives, you can find that on our Instagram. I guess the update on convention news, we got an email about amazing Aloha Comic-Con is coming up.
Aloha Comic-Con?
Yeah, it's the version of Amazing Comic-Con that is in Hawaii.
I would hope it would be in Hawaii with that name.
But yeah, I don't know why we got that email, but I figure it's a good idea for people that want to go to a convention that has really good panels, and you're in Hawaii.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, I believe that is in February.
Yes, but we're not going to that.
No,
least.
plane
I
tickets.
don't think.
No, I don't think we are. I guess we can
Okay.
talk about it.
Yeah, well, you kind of just like threw it out there, but I'm like, yeah, no, don't. We might not be there. So
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm just saying, like, check it out if you're interested.
absolutely.
If you like what we do here on Those Nerds Over There, then consider becoming a patron. You know, our patrons help produce the show, and it's thanks to their support that, you know, we get to make this show. And despite the lack of time, I consider making this show like a privilege.
Yeah, it's very much a highlight of the week too.
Yeah, especially in this year. And if you want a place just to hang out with us, then feel free to join our Discord. We have dedicated channels for topic discussion, show improvements, nut jar offerings. Links to all these pages can be found on our website, thosenerdscast.wixsite.com/home. That's WIXSITE.com/home. Sal, do you have anything to plug?
All right. If you want to find me on social media, I'm at Salzik on Twitter, Salzik also on Twitch, and then on my blog, gotamoment.com.
You can always find me on Twitter at ArielEyes_. Post dumb shit, but it's a good way to get in contact with the show. Or you can always contact us at thosenerdscast or email thosenerdscast@gmail.com. Thank you again, listeners, for joining us, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.
Goodbye.